Picture this. You get your paycheck on Friday. You feel good for about 48 hours. Then Monday hits, and you're looking at your bank account thinking, where did it all go? Rent, groceries, that subscription you forgot to cancel, your car payment, insurance, and suddenly you're back to counting days until the next paycheck. It's this endless cycle, right? You work hard, the money comes in, the money goes out, and at the end of the month, there's basically nothing left to show for it. Here's what kills me about this. You're not failing because you're bad with money. You're failing because nobody ever taught you the actual formula that wealthy people use to build wealth. And look, I'm going to show you that formula today. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your current approach keeps you stuck, and more importantly, what you need to do differently starting right now. My name is Max, and I want to help you learn how to make your money work more for you in your life. Today, I'm breaking down the specific mathematical and psychological framework that separates people who build wealth from people who just work for money their entire lives. So, let's get started, and please make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. The broken formula most people use. Okay, let's talk about what you're probably doing right now. Most people follow what I call the income minus expenses formula. It looks like this. You earn money, you pay your bills, you spend what's left on life, and if there's anything remaining at the end of the month, maybe you save it. Maybe. Here's the problem with this approach. There's never anything left. According to a 2023 study by the Federal Reserve, 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or savings. 37%. We're not talking about a $10,000 medical bill here. We're talking about $400. That's less than most people's grocery bill for the month. Now, you might be thinking, well, Max, I just don't make enough money. And look, I get it. Income matters. But here's what most people don't realize. There are people making $40,000 a year who are building wealth. And there are people making $150,000 a year who are living paycheck to paycheck. The difference isn't just the income. It's the formula they're using. The income minus expenses formula has a fatal flaw. It makes wealth building optional. It makes saving and investing the thing you do if there's money left over. And psychologically, that's a disaster because of something called Parkinson's Law, which states that expenses rise to meet income. Here's what this looks like in real life. You get a raise. Let's say $500 more per month. You think, great, now I can finally start saving. But what actually happens? Within a few months, you've upgraded your car, moved to a slightly nicer apartment, started eating out more often, your lifestyle expands, and that $500 disappears. You're making more money, but you're not any wealthier. You're just spending more. This is where it gets really interesting. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that household spending increases almost proportionally with income across most income brackets. People making $100,000 aren't saving 5 times more than people making $20,000. They're spending 5 times more. The formula the rich actually use. So what do wealthy people do differently? They flip the formula completely. Instead of income minus expenses equals savings, they use this. Income minus savings equals expenses. Read that again. Income minus savings equals expenses. That's they paid themselves first. Before the rent, before the car payment, before anything else, they set aside money for wealth building. And then, this is critical, they live on what's left. Now, I know you may be frustrated hearing this because you're thinking, Max, I barely have enough to cover my expenses now. How am I supposed to pay myself first? Stay with me, because we're going to address that exact concern. Here's the thing. This isn't about the amount. It's about the system. Wealthy people don't build wealth because they save huge amounts right away. They build wealth because they make wealth building non-negotiable. Let me give you a specific example. Let's say you make $4,000 a month after taxes. Most people would pay all their bills first, maybe $3,800, and then try to save whatever's left. Usually nothing. Using the rich person's formula, you do this. The moment your paycheck hits, you automatically move $400 into a separate account for wealth building, 10%. That leaves you $3,600 for expenses. Now, here's what happens psychologically. You adjust. You find a way to live on $3,600 because you have to. You cut one subscription. You cook at home one extra night per week. You find $200 in unnecessary spending that you didn't even realize existed. And suddenly you're building wealth. Not someday. Not when you make more money. Right now. Look, the reason this formula works isn't just mathematical, it's psychological. There are three major psychological principles at play here. First, loss aversion. Humans are wired to avoid losses more strongly than we seek gains. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for proving this. When you pay yourself first, that money is already gone from your spending account. Your brain treats it as unavailable, so you don't feel the pain of giving it up every month. You adjust your lifestyle to what's left. Second, automation removes willpower. Here's what most people don't realize. Willpower is a terrible strategy for building wealth. Studies show that willpower depletes throughout the day. By evening, you're exhausted, and that's when you make bad financial decisions. But when your wealth building is automated, when that 10% moves to savings before you even see it, you remove willpower from the equation entirely. The decision is made once, and then the system runs itself. Third, identity shift. This is the big one. When you pay yourself first, you start to see yourself differently. You're not someone who tries to save. You're someone who builds wealth. That identity shift changes your behavior in subtle but powerful ways. You start asking different questions. Instead of, can I afford this? You start asking, is this worth delaying my financial freedom? Additionally, there's something called the endowment effect working in your favor. Once that money is in your savings or investment account, you value it more highly. It becomes harder to spend because you've already mentally categorized it as yours in a different way than the money sitting in your checking account. The math that will blow your mind. Okay, let's talk about what this actually looks like over time, because this is where the formula proves itself. Let's use that same example, $4,000 monthly income, saving 10%, which is $400 per month. If you invest that $400 per month in a basic index fund averaging 8% annual return, which is below the S&P 500's historical average of around 10%. Here's what happens after 1 year, $4,982. After 5 years, $29,451. After 10 years, $73,211. After 20 years, $235,719. After 30 years, $596,253. You're probably wondering how $400 a month turns into nearly $600,000. It's compound interest. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world, and here's why. Your money doesn't just grow, your growth grows. Let me break down that 30-year example. You personally contributed $144,000 over those 30 years, $400 times 12 months times 30 years. But your account has $596,253. Where did the extra $452,253 come from? That's your money making money. That's compound interest doing the heavy lifting for you. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. If you increase your savings rate to just 15%, that's $600 per month on a $4,000 income. Those same numbers become, after 10 years, $109,816. After 20 years, $353,578. After 30 years, $894,380. We're talking about the difference between having $596,253 and $894,380. That's nearly $300,000 more in your pocket just by saving an additional $200 per month. That's the power of the formula when you actually commit to it. Implementing the formula in your life. All right, so how do you actually do this? Here are the specific actionable steps you need to take this week. Not someday, this week, to implement the rich person's formula. Step 1, calculate your pay yourself first percentage. Start with 10% if you can. If you genuinely can't do 10% right now, start with 5%, even 3%. The amount matters less than building the habit. Look at your after-tax income and decide on a percentage that feels uncomfortable but not impossible. Step 2. Open a separate account. This is non-negotiable. Your wealth-building money cannot sit in the same account as your spending money. Open a high-yield savings account, or even better, a brokerage account for investing. The physical separation is crucial because it creates friction between you and that money. Step 3. Automate the transfer. Set up an automatic transfer that happens the same day your paycheck hits. If you get paid on the 15th, your transfer happens on the 15th, before you pay rent. Before anything. This removes the decision from your hands every single month. Step 4. Treat it like a bill. Here's the mental shift. You don't try to pay your rent. You don't see if you can afford your car payment. Those are non-negotiable. Your pay yourself first transfer needs to be the same. It's the first bill you pay every month, and it's the most important one because it's to your future self. Step 5. Invest it. Don't just save it. Look, keeping money in a regular savings account is better than nothing, but it's not going to build real wealth. Inflation is eating away at it. You need to invest. If you're new to this, start with a simple, low-cost index fund like VTSAX or a target date retirement fund. You don't need to be a stock-picking genius. You just need to put your money where it can actually grow. Now, you might be thinking, Max, I have credit card debt. Should I be investing while I have debt? Great question. Here's my take. If your debt has an interest rate above 7 to 8%, pay that off first while saving a small emergency fund. If it's lower than that, you can do both simultaneously. Pay down debt while building wealth. The key is not waiting until everything is perfect to start. Let's be honest about the obstacles you're going to face, because there will be obstacles. Obstacle 1. I'll start next month when things are less tight. Here's the thing. Things are never less tight. Next month, something else will come up. Your car will need new tires. Your dog will need a vet visit. There's always a reason to delay. The people who build wealth are the ones who start before they feel ready. Obstacle 2. I don't make enough money for this to matter. This is the most dangerous belief, and it's completely wrong. A study by Dr. Thomas J. Stanley, who wrote The Millionaire Next Door, found that most millionaires in America didn't inherit their wealth and didn't have six-figure incomes. They lived below their means and invested consistently for decades. Seriously, it's not about how much you make. It's about what you do with what you make. Obstacle 3. What if I need that money for an emergency? That's why you build an emergency fund first. Start with $1,000, then build to 1 month of expenses, then 3 months. Once you have that cushion, you can invest more aggressively. But don't let the fear of hypothetical emergencies prevent you from building real wealth. Also, here's what most people don't realize. The biggest financial emergency is reaching age 65 with no savings. That's not a hypothetical. That's what happens to most Americans who don't follow this formula. Okay, I know some of you are still thinking, I literally have no money left at the end of the month. Where am I supposed to find this 10%? Fair question. Let's do a lifestyle audit together. The average American spends $257 per month on subscription services, according to a 2024 study. That includes streaming services, gym memberships, app subscriptions, meal kits. Most people can't even name all their subscriptions. Go through your bank statement right now and cancel 3 subscriptions you barely use. There's $50 to $75. The average American spends $166 per month on coffee and dining out, according to Bankrate. Make coffee at home 3 days a week instead of buying it. Bring lunch from home twice a week. There's another $100. Americans spend an average of $219 per month on impulse purchases, stuff they didn't plan to buy before entering the store or opening Amazon. Implement a 48-hour rule. If you want something, wait 48 hours before buying it. You'll be shocked how many impulses fade. There's another $150. We've just found $300 to $325 per month without making major lifestyle sacrifices. On a $4,000 monthly income, that's nearly 8% right there. This isn't about deprivation. This is about intentionality. The rich person's formula forces you to be intentional with every dollar because you've already committed your first dollars to wealth building. Here's something fascinating. When you implement this formula, the benefits extend way beyond your bank account. First, you reduce financial stress dramatically. A 2023 American Psychological Association study found that 72% of Americans report feeling stressed about money. But when you have a growing wealth building account, when you know you're making progress every single month, that stress decreases. You sleep better. Your relationships improve. You're more productive at work. Second, you gain optionality. This is huge. Right now, if you hate your job, you're probably stuck because you need every paycheck. But when you have 6 months of expenses saved, then 12 months, then a growing investment account, you gain choices. You can negotiate harder for raises. You can take calculated risks on career moves. You can say no to things that don't serve you. Third, you model this behavior for the people around you. Your kids, if you have them, learn that wealth building is normal. Your friends start asking what you're doing differently. You become the person who actually has their financial life together. And that identity reinforcement makes the formula even easier to maintain. Additionally, there's a confidence that comes from knowing you're in control. You're not hoping to get lucky. You're not waiting for someone to rescue you. You're executing a proven formula that mathematically must work if you stick with it. Now, here's where the formula gets really exciting. As your income increases throughout your career, you don't inflate your lifestyle. You inflate your savings rate. Let's say 2 years from now, you get a $6,000 annual raise. That's $500 more per month. Most people would absorb that $500 into lifestyle inflation. You're going to do something different. You're going to add at least half of it, $250, to your automated wealth building transfer. You are already living on your current income, so you don't need the full raise to maintain your lifestyle. Take half the raise, enjoy a small lifestyle improvement, and put the other half toward accelerating your wealth building. If you do this with every raise, every bonus, every increase in income, your savings rate grows from 10% to 15% to 20% to 25% over time. And remember those compound interest numbers we talked about earlier. They get absolutely insane at higher contribution levels. Someone saving 25% of their income can realistically retire in 20 to 25 years. Someone saving 50% can retire in under 15 years. These aren't fantasies. These are mathematical certainties if you execute the formula, the real wealth formula. So let's bring this all together. The money formula. The rich actually use isn't complicated. Income minus savings equals expenses. But it's not just about the math. It's about the complete system. Pay yourself first. Automate 10 to 25% before anything else. Invest for growth. Don't just save. Invest in assets that compound. Live on the rest. Adjust your lifestyle to what remains. Increase your rate over time. Capture raises and windfalls for wealth building. Let compound interest do the heavy lifting. Stay consistent for decades. This formula works because it aligns your behavior with wealth building instead of fighting against it. It removes willpower and emotion from the equation. It makes building wealth inevitable instead of hopeful. The people who follow this formula aren't smarter than you. They don't have secret knowledge. They simply committed to a different system, and that system produced completely different results. Look, here's what I need you to understand. Every single day you wait to implement this formula is a day you're losing compound interest, not someday, not when you make more money, not when things settle down. Today, the difference between financial stress and financial freedom isn't luck. It isn't inheritance. It's this formula, executed consistently over time. So here's what you're going to do right now, not tomorrow, right now. Open a new savings or brokerage account. Set up an automatic transfer for 10% of your next paycheck. Cancel 2 subscriptions you don't need. Do these 3 things before you close this video. Your future self, the version of you 10, 20, 30 years from now, is depending on the decision you make today. You can keep using the broken formula that keeps you stuck, or you can adopt the formula that the rich actually use. The math works. The psychology works. The formula works. You just have to execute it. If this video helped you, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel, for more practical financial education, and drop a comment telling me what percentage you're committing to saving. Let's build some accountability here. Your wealthy future is waiting. The formula is in your hands. Now go make it happen.